Sometimes it can be a little bit difficult to think about material for my Monday videos, but today's material gives the modeler lots and lots of options. Welcome to Model Kit Stuff, and today we're looking at this. Sail material does more than you think. Hello and welcome to Model Kit Stuff. Yes, today we're looking at literally material. This is a product from Amati and it's cloth for sails. This particular one, I think they have two different packs now, but this particular one comes in a pack, gives you a single sheet of cloth that's roughly 46 by 90 centimeters, and it's really cheap. It's if you buy this off the Amati website, it's €2.87, so it costs next to nothing. Now, obviously, it's designed to be used as material for making sails for your ships. Wooden model ships is what Amati do, so that's what it's principally for. But you can use it for replacing plastic or vac form sails on your plastic wooden kits. But that's not where this ends. So we're going to have a look at it today and talk about some other things that you could do with it as a modeler. So really handy if you're a diorama builder, or if you just like adding a bit of extra detail to some of your models. So let me just take this out. So get rid of that for a sec. Right, what you get is basically a square of cloth, and that's important because it gives you plenty of material for working with. So if you're doing sails, some of them can be quite big. Sometimes you need a good space for cutting them out. And what you basically do is you cut your shape out oversize. You then turn over the hem, sew it up, sew it yourself, and so you can basically make any shape of sail that you need. And you can also use this material to make furled sails as well. So you can gather it up, and it's woven in such a way that it behaves naturally and looks right. So yeah, it's a really nice material for making sails, and like I say, it's really cheap. But if you're not a ship, so I mean that's the obvious use of it, isn't it? That's why it's called cloth for sails, because that's what it's there for. But you can do so much more with it. So it comes just in its natural state, but the material itself is easy to work with, so you can do all sorts of other things with it. So the material itself lends itself to being used by military modelers, particularly for dioramas. The weave is nice and close, so it works at 135 scale, 148 scale, even depending on your application, 172 scale. When we look at the properties of the material, it's easy to cut. So these are my Tamiya scissors, and you can see it cuts. It's not causing us any problems. I'm going to show you cutting it in both directions. There you go. You see, it doesn't give you any particular problems. It doesn't rip or snag. It's not difficult to get through. It's a high quality material actually, and so it's really quite easy to work with, which makes it really easy when you're cutting out for sails, but it also gives you nice easy flexibility when you're doing other things. So for example, you could let's cut a piece out and give you some examples of what we can do. So if I cut a larger piece out, and then we can talk about its uses a little easier. So I'm just going to move that into view. I have to be a little bit careful with it because it does fray, but that actually gives us a nice advantage, as we'll talk about in a minute. So you could, for example, roll this up and it behaves really nicely, but you can roll it up and then you can use that for all sorts of stowage on vehicles. If you've got tarpaulins that have been rolled back on the back of a vehicle, this will do the job. And as you can see, it's very, very flexible. A little bit of watered down PVA glue and you can set it in place. You might, if you've got quite a thick wad of it like I've got here, you might want to tack it down with CA glue and then cover it. But yeah, those are all things that are possible with it. Also, one of the things that I like, I mentioned the fact that it frays a little bit. One of the things that I like is the fact that it frays, and you can take out these individual threads and they are so fine, and they can be used for all sorts of things, from bootlaces on your figures. So if you want to show someone's boot untied, perfect. You can also use it for tying up your stowage, so you can roll that up, glue it up, then tie this round and give it a nice in scale feel. It's a lot finer than most commercial threads that you can get, and so it's really great for working with anything that wants a tie down on the back of a vehicle, tie downs that you want to leave open. It gives you a real nice scale effect. It's not thick and chunky. So that's what you can do. Now the material itself, even though it's woven, when you've cut it out, you can pull it apart a little bit like this. So you can do all sorts of distressed materials and that sort of thing. So if you want to show like a netting over the above an artillery piece or something, and you want to show it's got a bit damaged, all you do is simply pull at it and it slowly pulls apart. Needs a little bit of effort because it's quite well made, but I'll just try and show you here on this corner. If you just pull it, you can loosen it. And that can be handy because you can get different effects with it. There you go. You can see how I've managed to loosen that. So you can actually work through the whole thing and loosen it and put some spaces in. And then, like I say, you can get worn looks. You can make things that look tatty. If you're doing if you model large figures, for example, and you want something that looks like tatty cloth or something like that, you can do that, and then you can go in and you can cut different lengths off these end threads and make it look really worn. So I don't know, Native American blanket or something, whatever it is that you can imagine, you can do that with this cloth, and it holds itself. You see, we've pulled at it and broken up the structure, but it's holding that form, so it doesn't, now you've pulled it apart, it doesn't fall apart. So yeah, really useful. So it's wherever your imagination can take it. So tent material, perfect. Like I say, any form of cloth that you might want to use, perfect. You can also use it on dioramas, so that if for example you're doing some scenery, and rather than using like paper mache, which can be a little bit soft and difficult to mold, you can actually use this as a surface before you start adding plaster and stuff like that, and the plaster will stick to it quite well. Yeah, you can use it for top shaping of rocky surfaces and stuff in your diorama building. Now, the other thing you can do with it is dye it, so you can change the colour, so you don't have to be limited to the colour that you can see here. So let's have a quick go at that and show you that. So I'm just gonna, this is actually a wash, but any thin down paint would do, and this is an enamel wash. So I'm just gonna show you. That allows me to change the colour of it, so it can become anything you want. You can do camouflage patterns on it. Obviously you get a little bit of wicking because the material, it will spread out with the material, but yeah, you can stain this to your heart's content. So if you need a particular colour on your military vehicle, you can achieve it, and it holds it really well. And you can see it's not spreading really quickly. It does spread like I've just said, but it's quite localized. So that looks, you know, really good. So you can do all sorts of effects, from changing its colour to blood stains in a diorama, or whatever it is you want. So I've got a little mini diorama planned with a hospital, First World War hospital vehicle, and I'm thinking of using some of this for the bedding, and we can do some blood stains and bits and pieces like that on it. The woven nature of the material also gives you the ability for things to stick to it. So if you wanted like clobs of earth or lumpy mud or something like that on it, it will hold it. You can plaster of Paris or polyfiller or something like that. You dab that on, it will dry into the mesh and it will cling there. So you can be quite creative with it if you wish to be. So it really goes as far as your imagination will take it. So there you have it. It's as cheap as chips. I mean, it's under €3. Shop around. You should be able to get it from any of your major wooden ship stockists that stock not just the kits but also sell the fittings and bits and pieces with it. So have a shop around, or you can buy it directly from Amati. But if you do lots of diorama building, then this is something I think you should have to hand as much as plastic card, because you've got all sorts of options you can do with it, and you never know when you might need some material, or when some material will add some realism. So there you have it, cloth for sales that's not just for sales, it's for whatever you want to do with it. I think it's a great product. I have several packs of these. I'm going to be using it for making sails when I come to do my large plastic ship build. I've got 1 or 2 wooden kits that don't have sails, and so it's handy for that. And like I've just said, I've got a diorama planned where I'm planning to use this, but I've got other dioramas planned where I might well find a use for this as I go along. So it's really handy, it's easy to work with, it's really cheap. I mean, it's a great product, and I think if you build anything other than just straight models, if you do anything at all with dioramas or little scenes or even large-scale figures, I think this is something that you should have in your bank of materials, because you just never know when something like this could rear its potential to you. So there you go. I hope that was useful, and if you've never thought about using materials in this way, that was helpful. You enjoy your modelling, and I will see you very soon. Bye for now.